Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Checked Before. This time, Distant Voices, Deep Space Nine, Distant Voices. It's not a distant voice. It could be if you're not on Facebook a lot, but we're on Facebook. It's All Been Checked Before. Spelled just like it sounds. It's All Been Checked Before. Don't be a distant voice. Become ever-present, right up front voice with us. Tell us what you think. Interact with us out there. A lot of fun stuff we're doing out there on Facebook. Somebody's got to do fun stuff out there. Speaking of fun stuff, we're talking about Distant Voices, DS9, It's All Been Trekked Before.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. Your skeleton crew is here.
This is Steven.
Jimmy-Jerome, and are we here, or are we in one of our minds? I don't know. We'll find out.
Good question.
Let's have our first impressions on Distant Voices. I hear Keith's distant voice giving us a first impression.
Oh,
just kidding.
I have, and sometimes this can cut both ways, but in this instance, I think it cuts the other. I don't have a lot of notes on this episode. I really like the beginning. I really like the end. I like Garak and Bashir. I thought their first scene and their last scene were interesting and advanced the characters and revealed some things. I thought those were really good. But overall, it was very, like something you kind of alluded to last week, and this was also my alternate episode early on, and I guess I'll stay with it. But essentially, this is DS9, The Deadly Years. Kind of, although I mean it takes place inside his head or whatever. You know, I definitely got into the all right, just tell us what's going on here. And I definitely kind of zoned out in a way, just like, all right, you know, okay, this is an episode where everything's kind of weird. So yeah, it didn't do much for me, is what I'll say. But
it didn't do a lot for me either. There was at one point I was hoping that it was going to play out like a Cardassian mystery novel because they set that up at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that would have been really cool.
Too.
Like everybody's guilty of something, everybody's playing against him, but that's not the way it went. That wasn't my alternate episode. My alternate episode was in his mind prison, Garak's his lover, and they go through it together because that would have been awesome.
They go right up to the line like, I just kept wondering why you were that person in my mind. And then I can't remember the answer because I liked the answer, but
it's disappointing because those would have been a couple cool ways to handle it, and the way it ultimately was handled wasn't great. And add in old age makeup that was as bad as the Deadly Years or Dr. McCoy in the TNG pilot Encounter at Farpoint, and it just did not work.
And to that point, I know we're jumping way into it, but again, you kind of alluded to last week. That was the thing I wrote down. I was like, is the makeup better than McCoy and TNG or Deadly Years?
But that was 8 years ago now.
Yeah.
It just this may be my least favorite Garak episode they do. And I know he's in like 30 episodes, but this was a Garak episode.
I think he's the only positive thing about it.
Well, I wouldn't say the only. I think Bashir's characterization in it was pretty good too at the beginning and the end, not in the middle.
Yes.
But seeing Garak there gave me higher hopes for the episode than it deserved, or that it panned out to be.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, Garak is trying to lose weight, which I enjoyed him talking about. And so he doesn't want to do fitness holosuite programs with Bashir. But they talk about a birthday, and, Garak said, surely the best of times and the worst of times, or something like that along those lines.
Which is a nice illusion.
You never get... No, I was joking about that. Rathacon did birthdays so well, Star Trek should never touch birthdays again.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
And you reference he gives him the holosuite program. That's right. Yes. That's his gift. And that's really where I thought we were going to end up. I thought it was going to be, he got trapped in the holosuite program somehow. Something happened but it wasn't.
I have to think Bashir being afraid of turning 30 and feeling like he was entering middle age. He's like, that's when youth is over and you start to enter middle age. I'm like, what? Okay, I guess that's when youth's over. I get youth over, but you're still far from middle age. And I guess that was why he aged, but they didn't draw that as a direct parallel.
No.
They should have had that be part of it.
And he's such a killjoy about his birthday, for one. And then two, I wrote, when I turned 30, it was great. To me, I had a great time, but not long after this episode aired, actually, but by the 24th century, wouldn't 30 not be anywhere near middle age?
We saw Dr. McCoy was like 120.
Yeah,
So
so
he did say 30 was middle age. He said it was beginning the march to middle
yeah,
age, but
yeah.
still,
Well, and
still.
yeah, I know our science says, if you're playing professional sport, 30, yeah, you're definitely over the hill. 35 is where muscle mass and all that starts to change. I knew I read that when I was 35, but
Yeah, it just didn't quite work for me.
no, no, it's
And
just
that's
like
unfortunate.
wham, wham, wham.
Yeah. And we got a detail that they talked about that Dax always throws surprise parties for everyone. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I could see Dax as the type of character that would celebrate everyone and make everyone feel
Hmm.
included, but throwing everyone surprise parties that they know aren't surprises does not feel like a Dax thing.
And I'm jumping around just because I don't have that many notes. But speaking of Dax, I do like that they clarify his perception of their relationship. That
That was really good.
yeah.
Like
So
that thing where I know they talked about running away and like maybe he should have
mhm,
tried harder, and I won't say they'll never revisit that down the
right.
road, but they're never going to move Jadzia and Julian into romantic because they shouldn't. They will bring it back up in later seasons
It
that he had a thing for Dax and maybe he should
sure.
have pursued it and maybe there would have been something between them, and they revisit that in the final season significantly.
Okay.
But
I
yeah,
mean, who
it's
wouldn't have a thing for Jadzia at some point? But
right,
I mean,
right.
but I thought it was almost more touching that he was like, no, I that's not the
She's
way I
my
think
friend and I
about it.
value that. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yes.
so I will say that's another good moment in the episode. And if you're going to red kryptonite it, why not even amp up a bunch of other things while you're there? But I felt like we didn't. It was very much it made me think of All the Way Home, or I'm trying to think of the the
Move
terrible
along home.
DS9. Yeah,
Move
because
along
it felt
home. Yeah.
like, oh, the whole time it's like, well, we're trying to solve this mystery. It's like, however they solve it is not going to be satisfying, and it was not. But
Yeah. The writing, I'm very disappointed in the writing in this episode, especially because this was a story by Joe Manosky and teleplay by Ira Stephen Bear and Robert Hewitt
yeah,
Wolf. All very familiar names. Ira Stephen Bear
yeah.
looks like already a showrunner at this point.
Mm-hmm.
They really
I
dropped the ball.
I
Directed
had
by
the same
Alexander
reaction
Singer,
going
one of
in,
the
like, oh, these
regulars.
guys, it'll probably be good, but it wasn't.
Yeah, no. Yeah, directed by Alexander Singer, one of the regulars. And I think we
Mm-hmm.
forgot to mention last week in the Voyager episode, it was directed by Les Landau, another regular director.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yep.
just so the whole thing gets kicked off when the alien being Altovar, played by Victor Rivers, who is
Mm-hmm.
best known for The Mask of Zorro. That's the 1998 film with Antonio Menez. Hulk, the 2003 film.
Oh
Twin
wow.
Peaks: A Firewalk with Me, where he played Buck. Definitely remember him from that. And The Air I Breathe. He has 69 credits, his last being an episode of Better Call Saul a couple years ago. He was very one note, so
Yeah.
nothing about his portrayal stood out. But
I
the
kind of liked
lightning was
the
decent.
makeup at first, and I thought, okay, well, this is interesting. And then, I thought the weird thing was that why does he bother to try and get the information out of Bashir? Like, where are the drugs? Why didn't you just take them? He was in there. Just take the drugs
I
and
assumed that it was more about covering up his, like, I'm making my escape. You walked in on
oh,
me.
that makes sense. That
He's going
does
to
make
take you
sense.
out. And rather than kill instantly, they like to make their victims slowly suffer because it makes a good story. I don't know. Dumb. It felt dumb to me. The lightning hands, as soon as it happened, I was like, oh no, not lightning hands. This is
Yeah,
dumb.
I just felt like it was such a lame setup to get them to into the thing they wanted to get into. Like, you create this interesting drug, or and I don't know, interesting might be strong. This drug that's like, oh well, it's banned and blah 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 and da da da. It can only be used for this. It's like, okay, and do we ever really find out why the guy wanted it? Did he want to sell it?
I don't know. If
I
they
don't
said I
really.
wasn't paying enough attention.
I don't either.
So, but Bashir wakes up to an empty station.
Hmm.
And he's already a little older. You can already see a little gray at his
Yeah.
temples. And I get Quark, who is out of character, but not enough out of character to flag it as bad.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's a little bit Weasley and cowardly, but I do think the real Quark would have gone with Bashir to try to escape instead of just hiding in the corner.
Yeah.
The tea running out of the replicator begs the question: how do replicators work exactly? Because normally, like we've seen Picard order tea, the cup of tea just appears. And instead, we
Hmm.
see the replicator in the hallway where there's just tea and a constant stream coming from the top of the replicator. Nothing about the replicator has ever said that's how it works. Don't they just like transport the matter there?
That's how Bashir sees it.
Dispenser. So Garak was talking about programming soup patterns into the replicator. So I guess that's what tailors do now. They don't hand sew them. They just everybody's a computer programmer.
Mm-hmm.
Then Bashir looks a lot older when he finds the senior staff, who they are all acting strange. Yes. Odo and Kira and Bashir and O'Brien, like red flags all over the place in that scene. Yes. Oh, this something's not right here. Dax notices his age only when he says things are off. That didn't end up being a plot point, but to me it felt like they were bringing up his rapid aging as a distraction when they thought he was figuring out what was going on. And yet that was never part of the plot or anything that was established. Nope. Otherwise, why didn't they mention his old age immediately? It just doesn't, there was no consistency to this.
No. And actually Dax says, I guess maybe this is a little later. She says, so if you're in a coma and we're not real, then what are we doing here? And I was like, exactly, what are we doing here? Wrap it up. And they did, eventually.
And hear the distant voices, but it wasn't really an ongoing thread to the episode.
Yeah,
which you titled it that. Well, shouldn't that have been an ongoing thing?
I completely agree. I was just like, wait, what?
Well, and then you hear Sisko and Dax on the outside saying he's in a telepathic coma, and you're like, okay, so there's no mystery. That's what it is.
Right.
Like, you set up a mystery, and then you just give us the answer halfway through and keep going. They're all different aspects of Bashir, I guess, but you'd think they'd all act a little more Bashir-like if that's the way they were going to go with it. Then Jadzia's been taken. He's now playing racquetball with Garak, but they talk about tennis. Like, they have the racquetball rackets. Racquetball's an established sport in this. Bashir always plays racquetball with O'Brien. And I guess I can see if Bashir was almost a professional tennis player, that in his mind, tennis may be a little more prevalent, and maybe that made him easy to adapt to racquetball, so you could kind of draw the connections. But why wasn't it just racquetball, is my question. I was just like, okay, tennis, I get it, he's into it and blah blah blah. But I also thought that being like, when they get into you never pushed yourself, you never did. I was just like, this is just lazy. I just thought it was lazy writing and lazy psycho babble kind of nonsense. It's just like, come on, guys. And the whole like, I guess it's a red kryptonite thing, but I don't think maybe I just don't think it's interesting, and maybe it doesn't matter. The whole like, well, you could have been number one, but you didn't want to be because there was too much pressure. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense with anything that's come before to me. That Bashir would be like, I don't like it. It's like, that doesn't make sense to me. No, and there's an alternate explanation coming up in the series on why he might want to be number 2 instead of number 1. It has nothing to do with giving up, and since this is in his head, it doesn't, I don't know. Yeah, and even like saying, well, he's always given up and now he's not going to give up. And I'm like, what? That does, again, I don't see the growth arc that got us there. Sisko's the doctor in that one scene. And to me, that's Avery Brooks reading the script going, he was probably with the rest of the main senior staff. He's like, hell no, give me one scene. That's all I'm doing in this crap. And I could be wrong, but I have great respect for him as an actor. So also, interesting note, I don't know if you noticed, but behind Sisko in that scene was Nurse Jabara, played by Anne Gillespie, who we'd seen several times before. This is her final appearance in the series. Oh, wow. She only did 4 episodes. I think she is the most prominent nurse Bashir ever has. And she's certainly the nurse I remember from the show. I don't know why they dropped her or why she was never replaced, but that's it. That's a wrap on Anne Gillespie. Well, there we go. Which, again, she had to be so disappointed. I am going to Google here. Why did Anne Gillespie leave Deep Space Nine? Because I'm very curious if that was like so there's an interview with her on religionnews.com, which, sorry that's the source. But they said they're talking about other things she did, like she was applying to the seminary. This was after her acting career. And they said, who were you on Deep Space Nine? And she said, yeah, no, I where is it? The question, the bad editing on this website, because it does not have the answer right after the question. It all of a sudden changes topic. But if you're looking on Google, the answer that seems to be connected to this is, I left and did not look back. So I don't know if that's in relation to Deep Space Nine or if that's for a different role, but it doesn't look like she answers the question. Anyway, I guess that's why she left acting, was to go to the seminary and become a minister.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, never really replaced her. So then we get these scenes of Kira dead and Odo dying. First of all, why is Odo dying the way he's dying? There's nothing like he's melting into a puddle. There's no explanation. And it just feels like they wanted to show them dead as like a shock factor to the audience, not for any real reason.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's trying to get to Ops, but he's climbing down. Ops is at the top of the central core. So why is he climbing down when he meets O'Brien instead of up? We go back to Quarks. Garak finally takes Bashir to Ops where there's a birthday party sign. It almost feels like, oh yeah, we mentioned a birthday earlier. Let's throw that back in. And then tennis balls just fall out the way Tribbles fall on Kirk in Trouble with Tribbles.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there should have been a line at the beginning of the episode where Bashir mentions Kirk and Tribbles so that would make sense to have that. Garak was the only one not killed. Okay, good. I appreciate that. Yeah. Even if, whatever. But then Bashir has to kill the alien in his mind.
I hate arbitrary rules, and I get that in your dreams they are arbitrary rules, but then why am I here? What am I watching?
Like, well, then what happened out here? Like, oh yeah, we arrested him easily. We caught him like right away. It's like, what? Yeah. And it's almost always fatal. You must be special that you survived. Why do you need to tell us that? Like, there's nothing that made Bashir special here. You could just say, yeah, well, you don't have to make it almost always fatal. It could be just, some people survive, some don't. You survived.
Yeah, just a lot of bad choices.
I did really, really appreciate the end. This is my last note of the scene where Bashir still doesn't trust Garak, and Garak takes that as a sign there may be hope for him yet.
Yes,
you still didn't trust me, there may be hope for you yet.
I love that.
Such a good line. If this was a good episode, that would have been the perfect capper. Because if it was a bad episode, it sticks out like a sore thumb.
And yeah. And maybe I said this before, but like, I think we have, but My Dinner with Garak, I would watch an episode of that. God,
watch a series of that.
Yeah, I mean, what is it with all this other nonsense? But yeah, that line was like, so good. And Garak is great, even in the nonsense in the coma, whatever. He's still fun and interesting, but to no end, unfortunately.
Well, Andrew Robinson's just fantastic in that role. Similar to Sisko is excellent in that scene where he's playing Doctor, even though the scene sucks. Like, Ava Brooks can't not be good. Andy Robinson can't not make Garak interesting and exciting, even in bad scripts.
Yeah.
So I wonder, because like I said, my favorite episode of Star Trek is one in season 6, that the two major characters in that one are Sisko and Garak. And I wonder if somebody watched this episode and said, this episode sucks, but look at the two bright spots. Let's build a whole episode around them. Yeah,
I mean, if that's what made it happen, then maybe it was worth the sacrifice, but no bueno.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we've had enough bad episodes of Star Trek. I'm not upset about this. It just it feels pretty late at DS9's run to give us one this bad. This feels like it should have been season 1.
Yeah. This feels like something that would have been in a
They would have had it worked out by now.
Yep.
Any other notes before we get to the rankings, alternate episodes, anything you want to cover?
No, I know we're going short, but I just didn't have much to like. Yeah,
I feel no compunction with going short, and I had just as many notes this week as last week. They just weren't worth discussion. It was more touch on them and move on.
And I feel like if any of our listeners are here to listen about this, I feel like they've come with the same feelings we have. I mean, maybe somebody's like, "Give me more." It's like, all right, well, you might have to go somewhere else.
If you loved this episode, jump on Facebook or Instagram, weigh in on the comments, or send an email to keith@iabdpresents.com.
Yeah,
Either one.
Exactly. I mean,
if you hate the episode, definitely send it to keith@iabdpresents.com.
Yeah.
But yeah, give us your feedback. We would love to have interactive discussion. If you talk to us, we'll cut some clips. We'll answer you. We'll respond to you. Absolutely. Send your letters, keith@iabdpresents.com. They'll come to me, and I'll handle it.
I guess we are in episode 18 of 26, but...
So maybe they were getting tired running out of steam, focusing on making the finale great.
But, yeah.
I mean, Look, I enjoy the first 3 seasons of DS9. We've had some real gems, but season 4 premiere hits the gas and doesn't look back. And I'm so excited how close we are to it. You know they're adding a new main character for season 4. They revamped the theme song slightly, and all of a sudden
I'll definitely be listening for that.
It's a lot of Dominion, it's a lot of Klingons, it's a lot of things we enjoy. A lot more Garak, a lot more Dukat.
Here for that. Yeah.
A lot more Kai Wynn. So
yeah,
give us that stuff.
Yeah.
We'll get some Gowron episodes. Love us a good Gowron.
Yeah, and this is the second week in a row I brought this in, and I'm usually the defender, but this definitely feels like a season 3 TOS episode. Very much. There's a weird alien. Oh, what's going on? Yeah.
This was bad. I mean, I did not think going into this I would be wanting to rank at the bottom of the season. I know we're not to episode rankings yet, but right now that's where I'm sitting. We haven't looked at the list yet.
I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to. I just started looking like, is there something else we didn't like this much?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I knew it wasn't good. I knew I was dissatisfied with it and tuning out halfway through. But
it makes me think of. And again, I'm going back to TOS and our podcast, TOS. I was talking about TOS, so go way back to our first season. But the alternative factor, which, like I said, as a kid, I remembered like, oh man, that was so cool. And then when we watched it, I was just like, I don't even hate it, which makes me hate it more because it's just so boring. And I think you said it better than any of us. But yeah, I was just like, man, I thought a lot more happened in this episode when I was a kid, but it doesn't.
I watched a lot of
yap.
So.
Yeah.
That was one of the handful of episodes I saw as a kid and couldn't stand the alternative.
Yeah, it sucked.
I'm really glad. So the audience may or may not know at this point that we usually watch 2 and then record 2 episodes back to back whenever we do the Zoom episodes, which are most of them. I'm really glad I did not watch last week's Voyager back to back with this. I watched them a couple days apart. I watched Voyager like 2 days before this. Because if I'd watched them back to back, that episode was so good. Jumping into this, I would have been so disappointed.
I watched them on 2 successive nights, so the Voyagers, I was like, and this one I was like, I'm getting real tired.
I do think, in general, when we have these head-to-head weeks, DS9 is going to come out ahead. But this week, not at all. Not at all.
Yep.
So, who was your shady character?
The drug guy. I'm going to be as lazy as the writers.
Altovar?
Altovar, yeah.
Okay. I mean, my shady was the illusion of Garak.
Right, yeah.
Garak's always shady, but the illusion of Garak was odd in a different way. That I was like, oh, okay, there's... At first, I thought he was in on it, somehow. The illusion of Garak being in on it, but apparently not, because... I don't know. It's dumb. Who was your annoyance?
Bashir, just at the top of the episode. Yeah. His whole, I'm 30. It's like, that's awesome. Yeah. I didn't care for it.
I didn't care for that, but I found him more annoying when he was super old. And part of that was the makeup, but I'm giving it to old Bashir.
That's
because it was just bad. Who are you having a drink with?
I'm being basic for this too. The Dabo Happy Birthday Girl, played by Nicole Forrester.
I saw her listed on IMDb, and I couldn't remember what the character was, so I didn't bother to talk about her.
She's in an episode of Enterprise, and she's only 52, so she was... I should be better at math.
20.
She's 33 in this episode, so I was like, well, she must have been really young, but wait.
I mean, this was 30 years ago. So she was 22.
I'm
23.
I was like, no, she has to be younger than me. She was 23. So.
Yeah, known for Jack Reacher, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, and Boss.
Yeah. She's still doing stuff, and she was...
She got a couple credits for 2023. She doesn't have any for 2024.
Yeah.
Or 2025, but...
Was on Guiding Light for a while. So, yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm going Garak, and I almost always will when he's in the episode.
Sure.
Especially because he had some great cover. He's going to give me some Cardassian mystery novels. We're going to have a conversation where he's going to tell me that because I don't trust him, there's hope for me.
And that's the better alternate episode, because I was thinking that too. It's like, oh, are we getting into the novel, or are we getting into the thing he gave him? But
would have been so good.
Yeah.
So right now, the bottom of the season is Meridian. I'm gonna have to look up.
Man, I had to
look that's the one.
No, I do have it up.
Yeah, that's the one where it's their Brigadoon episode, the planet that disappears and only reappears every 60 years.
Oh yeah.
I didn't love that one, but I'm gonna say that was better than this, and that this
yeah, because just thinking of that concept, I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting at least. So yeah, this is an easy one.
Easy.
I really want Keith to come in and try to sell us on this episode being good.
He probably would,
or at least, but I know he'll have a different perspective, and I always enjoy that. So
I miss getting his perspective.
Yeah,
on a regular.
Yes. Yeah,
I hope he catches up.
I do too.
Anyway, next week we're going back to Voyager for State of Flux. A fatal disaster aboard a Kazon ship. We haven't gotten rid of this Kazon yet. Reveals mishandled Federation technology at its heart, which indicates there's a traitor aboard Voyager because the Kazon ship has Starfleet technology that's malfunctioning. So who gave them the technology?
All right.
They didn't have opportunity to steal it. Somebody's giving them stuff. This is going to be a... I think you're going to like this episode.
I more than this one, but that's a low bar.
Well,
as we established.
It is. I don't remember the details of this episode, but I do remember a character that plays a major role in a way that I think you're going to enjoy.
All right.
So yeah. Anyway, until then, live long.
We'll pass 30. I mean, come on. And prosper.
It's All Been Done presents
Who's Got the Time?